right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Source Material Podcast. We're coming at you again week after week, day after day, every Monday, 9 o'clock sharp, right here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And this particular show, we're going to be discussing, it's a comic book that we've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, as a matter of fact. Me and Ronnie Adams have been kind of pitching this to Mark for a little bit. So we're going to be talking about Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. Came out in, I think, 2012. Are you ready to talk some Hawkeye, Mark Radulich?
Yes, I am, sir. Yeah, we are talking Matt Fraction's Hawkeye tonight because it's Robin Hood week, all week long, here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And the contribution for the Source Material Podcast is, in fact, the Robin Hood of the Marvel Universe, good old Clint Barton, a.k.a. Hawkeye.
Ronnie Adams, are you there, brother? Are you ready to talk some Clint Barton Hawkeye?
Let me ask you this. Am I ever ready to talk about anything on this show?
You've been ready to talk some Hawkeye, though, for a while, right?
Ronnie's high point this year was that my dad agreed with him that there was no reason to make Snagglepuss a gay playwright in the 1960s. And after that, Ronnie was like, yeah, year over. We're done now.
Oh, wait a second. It was paired with the lowest point when your dad yelled, vote Democrat, and then dropped the mic. And then Ronnie started crying into his pillow or something.
Speaking of which, I officially won the year. There was a Dominic the Donkey mention on Family Guy.
Oh my goodness!
Yep, singing and everything. I literally got up, yelled, "I win," and walked out of the room.
It's still not real.
All right, and now,
I refuse to believe that there is a Christmas song about a donkey.
Oh,
yeah, there is.
Dominic the Italian Christmas. You tell him, Al.
Hee-haw, hee-haw.
Thank you.
I heard that every year growing up.
This works.
Are you from the Northeast?
Originally.
Brother, I'm from Long Island, New York. Where are you from?
Originally Brooklyn and then mostly Jersey.
Nice. See, this man knows.
Yeah, I heard that every year, a dozen times a year.
Oh, finally, we don't have somebody who's from West Virginia on the show.
Mark is tired of shilling he's tired of putting his show out there for the hillbillies to take.
I swear to God, the only place you're getting guests from is from a coal mine near your house.
All right. Well, hey, we have a special guest right here on the show tonight.
I'm done. I'm ready. We haven't even started the show, and I'm already done.
Al Sedano from Resurrections, an Adam Warlock and Thanos podcast. Al, welcome to the show. Are you ready, sir, to talk some Hawkeye tonight?
Oh, this series? Hell yeah.
All right. Now, we put this out there in the schedule, amongst all the things that we've got. You honed in on this one. You sent me a message. You said, hey, are you talking Fractions Hawkeye? And I was like, yeah, that's coming up. You wanted to be on the show. So, Al, what specifically drew you to this? Why did you want to talk this one?
Just because it was a damn good series. At the time it was coming out, I was working at a sort of a comic store, and it was a hobby shop, but I was running the comic department. And this was one of the books that I was actually buying and not just, reading at lunch because it was free and there.
Yeah.
It was actually worth paying for.
Yes. This is a long way from the deep space that Adam Warlock and Thanos is from. So tell us a little bit real quick about your podcast, because I've had the chance to listen to it. I don't know if these guys have. So can you kind of give us your 5-minute elevator pitch of what you cover on your show?
Well, it's actually kind of in the title, Thanos and Adam Warlock. It's very simple. Granted, we don't always do that because I go on tangents. I did a crossover about the Mephisto versus miniseries from the 80s. And I also did the entire Avengers Defenders War in 2 episodes because Adam and Thanos both have a cameo in it. So,
for sure.
But yeah, basically that's what it is. It's Adam Warlock and Thanos, mostly the Bronze Age stuff, but we are doing some of the newer stuff as well.
I've learned a lot listening to your podcast there, specifically about Adam Warlock.
How that happened.
I don't know much about Adam Warlock. I know of, obviously, his appearance through the Infinity Gauntlet. That's probably the most prominent thing that I know him from. But, understanding him as this character that has such a tie to religious I guess religious themes is probably the best word to put there.
Oh yeah.
That amazed me. I had no idea that was in the background of that character. So anybody out there that wants to learn about Warlock and definitely some Thanos as well, that there's a great place to start. Trust me. You guys are going through, pretty much consecutively. Where'd you stop last time with Adam Warlock and Thanos? Was that, or Adam Warlock? I remember he was involved with some circus clowns, something crazy crazy was going on.
Oh, that was the 1,000 Clowns-ish episode. Yeah.
Yeah. How far are you after that? I mean, are you
a couple issues after? That was Strange Tales 180, I believe. And an issue after 181, he got his own series back again with issue 9. As time we're recording this, the next episode coming up will have issue 11.
All right. Very good.
But yeah, he's basically depressed Space Jesus.
Yep. Pretty much. So, okay. Well, like I said, we're going to be talking Matt Fraction's Hawkeye tonight. And half of the creative team I just told you, written by Matt Fraction, art on these issues. Now, remember, we're only talking about issues 1 through 5. There was a Young Avengers Spotlight, I think. I can't remember the issue number.
6.
Thank you. So it focused on Kate Bishop, who is another major player in this book. We'll maybe talk about what happened there. But anyway, art on these books, 1 through 3, is David Aja. Issues 4 and 5 are Javier Pulido. So did I do a good job there?
God bless you.
Javier. But here's the synopsis, ladies and gentlemen. Synopsis for Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, 1 through 5. So in our first 3 issues, Clint Barton, or better known as the dead-eyed archer of the Avengers Hawkeye, may be a hero, but he is also human. When the rent is tripled by a corrupt landlord who is a member of a group we soon come to affectionately call the Tracksuit Draculas, Clint aims to make life a little easier for himself and the rest of the friendly tenants in his apartment building, also making friends with a certain pizza-loving dog named Lucky along the way. And let's not forget about Kate Bishop, who also took up the namesake of Hawkeye while Clint was away for a while. Kate helps Clint through a couple misadventures in these issues, one dealing with the thieving circus of crime who plan on putting on a show and pilfering the audience, and another when the Tracksuit Draculas track down a very lovely redhead who just happened to sell Clint the very car she had stolen from them. Now, issues 4 and 5 bring us the tape. Someone has gotten a tape of Clint Barton assassinating a prominent government figure that was sanctioned by S.H.I.E.L.D. Now the tape is up for auction to some of the wealthiest villainous organizations in the Marvel Universe. When Hawkeye's plan to get the tape back is interrupted by an abduction by Madame Mask, can Kate Bishop save him before it's too late? You'll read it once and most likely read it twice. In other words, you'll be coming back to Fraction's Hawkeye like a boomerang arrow, bro. We'll start with Al. You're the guest. You get to go first here. Can you give us an idea of what you knew about Hawkeye before you had the chance to read this book?
Actually, I was pretty good with Hawkeye beforehand because I've been reading stuff Marvel since '87.
Okay.
So I had read a whole bunch of West Coast Avengers West Coast at that point, from like issue 50 on to almost the end, and a whole bunch of other Avengers stuff. So plus back issues. So yeah, I was pretty familiar with Hawkeye. It was a nice progression for him because he starts out as kind of like the Guy Gardner from Justice League of the group. He was basically a jerk and just kept picking on Cap the entire time, and eventually he's the guy who eventually grew up.
Yeah.
So I like this version of him now. It's like the kind of the guy who realizes I don't know everything.
Ronnie Adams, you know much of Hawkeye before you got into this?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I did. I've always had a soft spot for Hawkeye. I knew about his criminal background, becoming a hero. Although I really didn't know he was deaf until this.
Yeah, that was the Hawkeye miniseries.
Wait, he's deaf?
He went deaf in that miniseries. It's when he got married to Mary Mockingbird. He had to keep from being mind controlled. I think it was he put the tip of one of his a sonic arrow in his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But it destroyed 80% of his hearing. So all throughout the 80s and 90s, he has a hearing. He under his costume has a hearing aid in, so he can hear.
Yeah, it never dawned on me that he was deaf, and then I did some research on that and found out how and why and everything else. So, which kind of brings a whole new light on him. Being a disabled superhero. He's I've always loved him. I've always loved the trick arrows and everything. I've liked I like Green Arrow in DC, but I always liked Hawkeye a little more.
Mark Radulich, Hawkeye, before we got to this series right here, how much did you know about him?
I remember him as the leader of the West Coast Avengers from the 80s and 90s, and I enjoyed that run of West Coast Avengers. I think he was more mature by that point with that group. He wasn't as much of a goofball. We referenced him in Mockingbird's marriage sort of falling apart when we did the Mockingbird earlier this year with Alexis Hana. That's not.
There's no active call.
Thank you. I really need to turn that off during these shows. I didn't know much about that. Like I said, Hawkeye for me was, I'll reference the Patton Oswalt joke again. It was like, he was the guy. the Avengers were recruiting out of a sporting goods store one day. Do you want to take on Ultron? Yes, I can shoot a bow and arrow. Like I said, I liked him in the West Coast Avengers as the leader of the Captain America of that team. Outside of that, I've always kind of found him, mostly useless.
Yeah, I was not someone who read West Coast Avengers, and it seems like I know a lot of people who have, and I really need to go back and read some of that story because
it's good stuff, man. Because it was and it was less focused on the villain of the week than it was on like that team dynamic.
I have a quick question for Al.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Ultimate Universe? Like before everything got smashed together.
Yeah, I am. I'm not that up in the Ultimate Universe.
Were you familiar with Ultimate Hawkeye?
Yeah. I did release the first run of Ultimate, so.
Who do you prefer, this one or that one?
Oh, this one, definitely.
Good man.
He's more fun. He's more entertaining.
And he's less. That one was really dark.
That's what I was going to ask. What's the difference?
Dark, and he had cybernetic enhancements in his eyes and everything.
It's where they got the idea for the wife and kids from the movies, except they don't make it.
Not in the Ultimate Universe, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're making it in the movies either, folks.
Snap. Well, then.
That's right.
Basically. And doesn't he rip off his own thumb, like his fingernails, and spit them at people, kind of like Bullseye would?
Yeah, he flipped them at people to kill them.
It was when his family got killed. It was not a regular thing. It was a one-time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a jam. I need to.
Well, if he's ripping off his fingers and throwing them at people, he's only got 10 tries.
Right. He only needed one.
He only needs one. Yeah, I remember reading the first series of Ultimates. I don't think I got past that. And boy, you're right. There was some dark stuff in there. So what did you think of Fraction's take on Hawkeye here, Mark?
I loved it. I really enjoyed these series where you get the up close look at like the everyday life of these heroes. And first of all, I enjoyed the humor of it. The first page of the book is always sort of like an introduction, and it was the same one except for the last line, which is you've already read this. This is a waste of time.
That's some of the greatest stuff in this book.
My favorite part of this was the tape. I like a good espionage tale. It's a wonder I don't read more spy and espionage books, or that I'm a bigger fan of the spy genre. But I do enjoy these comic book tales, that tell a very intimate, easy to follow, non-baby dark side, non-turn into a building, non-syphilis story. Did I get them all?
Almost.
Pretty much.
I enjoyed the interaction between him and Kate Bishop. This was a very, very tight story. It was very easy to follow. In a lot of ways, humanized Hawkeye and gave him a personality that up to this point I really wasn't aware he had. So it was fun. I would read more of this.
Okay, Ronnie Adams. I mean, we've been itching to talk about this book for a while. I know we keep yelling things like pizza dog and stuff like that. So what'd you think about it? We only got 5 issues here. What'd you think of our first taste here on the Source Material podcast of Fractions Hawkeye?
I was hooked after one.
Yeah,
I read it. I loved it mainly because Hawkeye's an everyday dude. He's not fighting Ultron. He's not trying to save the universe. He's just trying to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
He's just he's an everyday guy that just so happens to be on the world's best superhero team. Just like Mark said, it gave him a personality. It gave him more purpose than just shooting arrows at the bad guys, which he does a lot of that too. I just absolutely love this book.
Mm-hmm. Al, anything else you'd like to add on Fraction's take on Hawkeye? You said he matured a little bit. Anything else?
I love the fact that he matured him. Like I said, it felt like a good progression from where Hawkeye had been before, so it's worked. And I also love the way they work this series. I mean, this is not a 5-part introductory story. This is 4 stories. The first 3 are just single issue stories.
Yep.
But they all still, stuff keeps coming back, so there is a continuing story. But I love the way they did that it was like back in the Bronze Age, so to speak, single issue stories. You can buy an issue and get it all at once.
I don't know if Al's familiar with Red Letter Media, Mike Slacasa, Half in the Bag, any of that. When he made this comment, he was talking about Star Wars, but I think it relates here too. That some of these stories can be a bit dry, a bit let me specifically tell you what I'm referring to in this story, and then I'll go back here. So you have that one issue where he's dealing with the girl in the car, and they at one point they're having sex, and there was a lot of sex appeal in that issue. Like, again, they're not just humanizing the character in the sense that, oh, like he's a three-dimensional person, but but he also, I don't know, gets laid every once in a while. Like, it happens in a comic book, besides the killing joke.
Wait a second. Controversial.
Well, they gave him a life,
right? And and I remember Mike Stokasa saying, "It's like, can I get a little love in my Star Wars?" He was referring to the fact that Star Wars is particularly dry when it comes to when it comes to love and sex, because it was written because especially the prequel trilogies he was referring to, and I say that's because it was written by a robot named George Lucas. But we hear you laughing back there, Ronnie. But so that's one of the things I liked about this is that you're right. I mean, that's a shorter, more simpler way of saying it. They gave him a life. They gave him, all the dimensions of a human being, besides the fact that he can, magically shoot arrows and hit anything at any time.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Kate Bishop. We'll start with you, Al. Kate, I know me and you both read that Young Avengers issue. We learn about kind of their Kate and Clint's first meeting, where she, I think, she tries to steal his bow. They kind of have this competitive side to each other, and at the end of the day, even though he kind of showed her up, he let her have the bow anyway. And I assume that obviously created a friendship, because when she shows up, you could tell there's definitely a history between the two. So, what'd you think of the character of Kate Bishop?
I like Kate. I mean, I did read Young Avengers, at least the first series when it came out. I just didn't read the other ones. I think I probably wasn't able to get as much stuff at the time. Mm-hmm. But I did read the first one, but it's been a while. I haven't read it over and over. But I remembered she existed before I read the series. But reading the series, yeah, I like her. It's entertaining. She's kind of, probably to annoy Clint, she's the kind of teenager who thinks she knows everything. And the problem is about 50-60% of the time, she's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
That's dangerous.
So that's the problem. It's like she's actually right most of the times. I was like, oh, crap, how do I teach her things when she's usually the one who's right? Mm-hmm. But I like the fact that even though when she's like, oh, God, you trick arrows, please, what's wrong with you? She's still, you can tell she has a respect for him and the legacy. She appreciates it. That's why she wanted that bow. Yeah. She appreciates the legacy of what she's doing, what she's taking on.
Yeah, Ronnie, did you read some Young Avengers back in the day? I know you were a Runaways guy. I can't remember if you were picking up Young Avengers as well.
A little bit. More Runaways fan.
Okay. You remember reading anything about Kate Bishop back in the day at all?
Somewhat, but I was more familiar with her after reading this.
Okay. What'd you think of the character?
Oh, I like her character. She is the anti-Clint, basically, but she also their whole relationship confuses me, because one, she seems like she's older than what everybody thinks she is. Am I the only one that got that there's some sort of physical attraction between the two?
Oh no. Yeah, that book is loaded with sexual tension.
Okay, yeah. So that's what but he won't, because she's like a little sister. It would be gross. And same thing, she won't, even though several times in the book it shows her in a state of confusion of she's attracted to him. But there's a whole brother sister thing going on there too. But I like the character. She's now more complex, more thought out than what I was used to, what I heard about in Young Avengers and things Young Avengers.
Yeah.
So basically, she was girl Hawkeye, and that's all I really knew of her. Mm-hmm. But there's more to her than that, and it kind of comes out in this as well.
Mark?
So I know nothing about this character. But I'm always in the market for a strong female character for my daughter to read. As I try to continually push comic books on her. She immediately took to Spider-Gwen, as I've said in the past. I think the next time we're in the comic book store, I'm going to push the Kate Bishop Hawkeye on her. One, we've gone out to the archery range and shot arrows before, so I think it was something. I've tried to teach you self-defense, that if you're ever being chased by someone who's going to do you harm, shoot him with an arrow.
That's
good advice. They're not expecting it.
They'll never expect that or the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh no!
No, but that's an activity that we've done, so I'm hoping she'll make that connection and she'll dig the character. I enjoyed her in the book. I thought she was a grounding character for Clint. I think Clint tends to sort of lose himself in the situation, get him. Every issue started with "this looks bad." Matt Fraction's trying to tell us something. What are you saying, Lassie? He's trying to say that Clint Barton frequently gets himself in over his head, and I think she's that grounding partner, the one that says, "Hey, Donald, you don't have to smash the window. Just click the thing and it'll just open for you." See? So, I really enjoyed their interactions. I think, again, my favorite part of her in the first 5 issues was her bit in the tape where she won't take no for an answer, and she ends up getting herself involved, and she takes it for a little bit there. She takes out Madame Mask. I enjoyed all of that.
Yeah, she's, again, strong character. Who does Clint have to lean on to come and get his fat out of the fryer? And in that particular issue, she's the one that steps up to the plate and helps him. That kind of leads into my next question, which is our favorite parts of the book. And I'll go ahead and start this off because it just ties in directly with what we're talking about here. That relationship between Kate Bishop and Clint Barton. I think one of my favorite parts of the series itself, going to the tape, there's a point where they're running away from, some danger, and they realize they have to go back and get the tape. And they both kind of look at each other like they know exactly what they have to do. And instead of running away from these shurikens and all this stuff that's coming at them, they turn around and run right back into danger. So again, it's an interesting dynamic to see these two rely upon each other. It's fun to watch and see how that relationship is in the progress of developing. Mark, you kind of listed a few things here. Do you have a specific favorite part out of this whole series that we had a chance to, these 5 issues?
I think it's probably a tie between the very first issue with the dog, and him being so, who throws dogs into traffic, and him kind of going through hell and getting himself beat to shit just to save this dog. And, the dog suddenly became the most important thing in the world. This is a guy who has fought Ultron. This is a guy who, has dealt with Thanos and, has been all over the world. But suddenly this dog became the most important thing at that moment, which I really enjoyed. And then, like I said before, that, I've said it a few times now, that I really enjoyed the tape. If nothing else, the tape makes me want to read more of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
Okay. Ronnie Adams?
This is going to sound weird.
I know where you're going.
The Hawkeye mask cover needs wobbly bits.
Oh my God, that made me laugh so hard.
David Aja, everybody.
That was hysterical. And the fact that when he called her and she picked him up in a car and she was just staring at him, and she's like, "Really? Put a shirt on
with the abs and everything."
Yes, and everything. And they all thought he was gross because he basically had a one-night stand with this redheaded this girl, and it was an interesting dynamic to bring to their relationship. They're not going to do anything about them, but still it feels like she got a little jealous.
Yeah. That whole scene between, I say scene, it really wasn't a scene. It was just like he met the girl, and then like within a couple panels later, she's buttoning her shirt up or putting her shirt on, and he's like putting his pants on or something, trying to, because he doesn't get that far. But it just happened like that. I was like, whoa, wait a second. So that happened.
Clint's the man whore though.
Now, see, I don't know much about Clint. Is there a past to kind of support that or what?
He's had relationships with Jessica Drew, Janet Van Dyne, Mockingbird. Well, he's married to Mockingbird. He's been around the block a couple of times, from what I understand.
But even when he got married, Black Widow, because that's what first brought him in.
Yeah, Black Widow.
Oh God, who hasn't banged Black Widow? She's Daredevil, Hawkeye. My goodness.
But even with Mockingbird, that was almost a one-night stand. Like she only met her in that miniseries where they also get married.
Yeah,
he basically met her, they slept together, then they got married like the next day. There's actually an issue later on, I believe, because I think he dated dated Spider-Woman or was dating Spider-Woman. And I think at that point there's an issue with her, Mockingbird, and Black Widow.
Yeah, we referenced this one, didn't we, Ronnie?
Yeah, ex-girlfriend, or 2 ex-girlfriends, an ex-wife, and Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
What a mess. What a mess. All right. So Al, your favorite parts of the book. Did you have anything that you really liked out of these issues?
Well, 2 things definitely out of the series. I like everyone else said, agreed. The relationship between Kate and Clint. It's amazing. I think that's part of the reason why they have that attraction to each other, because they just click so well together. Because when you were talking about them working well together, that was the first thing I thought of, the one you were talking about, when we were running away from those guys in the tape, and they both turn around at the same time and realize and head right back together, like without missing a beat. Mm-hmm. But also, issue 3, I love the focus on the trick arrows. I like the way he's doing the modern take of, we're going to look at the old stuff that was kind of, that they did back in the day that's kind of goofy, but we're also going to use it somewhat seriously. It's like, yeah, trick arrows are goofy, but the boomerang arrow works.
That's right.
They're goofy, but it's almost like someone did say magic before. There's almost like something a little magical about him. It's like, yeah, no one else can make this shot. She's like, Mythbusters proved it. It's in the, I think the Young Avengers issue. He's going to do the Robin Hood shot and break the arrow. She's like, Mythbusters proved it twice. You can't do it. And he does it.
Yep.
I have a criticism.
Good. Tell us what's your thoughts?
Well, bro, my criticism, bro, is that even running a joke into the ground, bro, can be funny after a little while, bro. But then if you do it too much, bro, it gets annoying, don't you think, bro?
Now, here's the thing, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first Radulich in Broadcasting show, and you hear Mark Radulich talking about running a joke into the ground,
it must be bad.
In a negative context, okay? You give Matt Fraction a hard time about bro? I mean, come on, dude. You're not legitimately criticizing him, because the first thing is, number one, what I'm
legitimately doing or not doing, sir.
First off, I thought it was hilarious. Okay, the tracksuit Draculas, the Bro Squad.
2 pages, and after the 3rd page, I was like, all right, already, we get it. Russians say bro a lot.
That's the point. That is the point, though. The point is to drive it into the ground.
See, I took it as like they all were brought in from like Russia or some, one of those countries like that, and that's basically like one of the 5 words they know in English.
Well, that too.
That's how I took it.
To fit in with American culture by saying bro.
Yeah.
Right. But again, after they did it 20 times in a row, I was like, all right, enough already. Let's move on with this.
Okay. .org.
What?
Ronnie, do you have any criticisms for this book, moving on from Mark Radulich and his ridiculousness? What?
The only criticism I have is of Mark not liking the bro bit.
Al, I mean, hey, like I said, it's a tall order. Do you have any criticisms of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye?
Not much. No, I really can't think of anything. I mean, the bro didn't bother me. Maybe it's because I didn't read I don't know. Did you read the book all in one sitting? Is that why it bothered you? Maybe because I did read. Like I didn't have time every day, so I read like an issue a day. And when it came out, I was like, well, sometimes once a month, sometimes it was a few months in between. So I didn't feel too overwhelmed with it because I didn't have it all at once.
To answer your question, sir, it took me 2 sittings to get through the whole 5 issues.
Okay, so you read it more in like a whole big, 2-half chunks. So maybe that was why, because you read it all at once as opposed to splitting it up more.
Yeah, probably.
I want more bro. I want more bro in my comics. So.
Oh, Jesse, you and I have another podcast to do this week. I'll fucking bro it up for you.
Oh no, let's not do that. All right. Any other burning desires here, Mark Radulich, before we get into final thoughts on the book?
No, sir. I'm good.
All right, Ronnie Adams.
No, I'm good.
Al Sedano.
Only other thing I want to say is, besides Matt Fraction, I also want to point out Aja's design of the series.
Oh, yes.
He was paying attention. I mean, working with the colors, obviously, like the color palette, like using the purple a lot on both of them, because that's what Hawkeye's costume mostly is. And the layout of the book, I mean, that one, I think it's like issue 2 or 3 where he's shooting the arrow, and you have Kate in like 5 panels, each panel saying one letter of the word she's saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that does remind me. Yeah, the art sucked in this.
Oh, no. Mark, come on. Now, why would you say it sucked?
I don't know. It looked like somebody gave the artist a box of Crayola crayons and he went nuts.
No, you're not even going to compare this to Sam Keith, okay? You're not even going to do that.
Okay, it's not that bad, but, so I peed on your sandwich versus like shat on it. All right. Well, it's not that bad, but it's still terrible.
Okay, can you think of any shows that we've done here this past year where you really like the art?
Kingdom Come.
Okay. Well, Alex Ross. Okay. Kind of tough, kind of upper echelon stuff there. So.
I like the art in Snagglepuss.
Okay.
Out. Don't
there's been books that I thought the art was fine in.
I know. I'm not saying you think all. I want to get a gauge of what you think is good versus what you think.
The last book we did was Justice League, and the art was fine in that one. It was perfect.
Okay.
I like how he doesn't say the art was good or the art was fantastic. The art was fun. I'm not going to give them a compliment. The art was fun.
Look, Sam Keith is the absolute ass worst thing I've ever.
Okay.
Other than whoever drew Arkham Asylum, who looked like they took a bunch of chalk, put it on their bodies, and rolled across the page. It's just the Joker. That's nice, kid. And then and then they took Arkham Asylum really is just some mom's collection of her kid's shitty artwork that she bonded together and sold to DC as a book, and they just slapped the name Arkham Asylum on there.
If I remember correctly, that gave you nightmares. Was it you or was it Ronnie?
Oh yeah, that was the whole horrifying thing I've ever read.
Okay, yeah. Well, the art did its job then, because that's what it's supposed to do.
Dave McKean. Yeah, he does a lot of that weird avant-garde. I think he did the covers for Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I just want to get a gauge because, first off, Mark,
I'm a big fan of comic books looking like people, and not the things I used to doodle in my junior high business class.
Damn, man. You're so harsh. All right, let's get into
junior high.
Yes, I took yes, it was an electives.
Let's get into final thoughts before I have an aneurysm, okay? All right. So, Mark Rylance, what's your thoughts? What's your final thoughts on the book?
Like I said, I really enjoyed it. There was the great storytelling here. The art was left some to be desired, but whatever. You can't have it all. It made me interested in the Kate Bishop character. Made me want to go pick up her solo series and share it with my daughter.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it is. Ronnie Adams?
Fantastic series. Loved it. Loved every issue. Matt Fraction, it solidified Matt Fraction being one of my favorite writers. Up there, maybe surpassing Bendis.
Wow. Yeah, I was looking at some of the stuff that he had done on the wiki. So we actually talked Marvel's The Immortal Iron Fist, which I think this story... The Immortal Iron Fist was all right. We wanted to talk about that because it was Fraction, but I think that really got us going, okay, we need to talk Hawkeye. Yeah. Because Hawkeye, I think, is above the Immortal Iron Fist series that he did.
This was much better than Iron Fist.
Yeah. And I'm taking a look through here. He wrote the Fear Itself limited series. Yeah, I was going to say Justin Thomas talks about that one a lot. He said he really enjoyed it. Fraction and Chip Zdarsky co-created Sex Criminals, which is an Image comic. Now, have you, Mark Radulich, heard of the premise of Sex Criminals?
No, but you've got my ear. Go on.
Yeah, I figured you would. So let me read to you the synopsis, okay? Susie, a librarian, and John, an actor, meet at a party. And
that sounds like porn.
Oh, get ready. After sleeping together, they discover that they share the ability to freeze time when they orgasm. As their relationship develops and their sexual histories are explored, they decide to rob the bank where John works in order to save Susie's endangered library. So, yeah, that's a Fraction Chip Zdarsky deal. Now, Chip Zdarsky, Ronnie, how many times have we heard Josh Calandris talk about his fandom of Chip Zdarsky?
A lot.
Yeah, he's a big fan. I haven't read a whole lot, but from what I understand, I mean, he did, was it Howard the Duck? I think. He writes some quirky stuff. Yeah. Obviously, if he's tied in with a time freezing orgasm book, I would imagine that, yeah, there's probably going to be some quirky stuff in his repertoire. So anyway, Al Sedano, give us your final thoughts on Hawkeye, the book I can never remember the name of.
This one.
Hawkeye, this one.
No, I'm really happy I did this because it gave me a reason to reread this, because it's been I read it when it came out, but I haven't really gone back to read it since, and I want to go back now and read the rest of the series, especially the next issue, which is the Superstorm Sandy issue.
Oh boy, man, oh man. And I want to revisit this thing as well. There's so much anymore. I find myself doing the same thing with comics as I do with watching movies and TV shows. Do I want to go back and take some of that time away from reading something new to enjoy something that I've already read, but enjoyed immensely. I think Fractions Hawkeye is worth it. I really do. I think it's worth going back and revisiting and enjoying a second time. It's fun reading it again and kind of picking up on some of the things you may not have caught the first time. And appreciating, Al, I think if I remember correctly, you were talking about the team of Aja and Fraction and how well they seem to go together.
Whether or not you like the art or not, you could tell they planned this whole thing together. They planned how the book was going to look. They planned those little opening pages. This is what Hawkeye does. Why are you reading this? They planned how, the design of the book and everything. So you can tell the two of them were really working together, as opposed to like a lot of times where you can tell someone wrote a script and sent it to somebody to draw.
Yeah.
And I like that.
All right, let's get out of here. It's been a fun time. Al, I want to tell you, number one, thanks for showing up here and lending your podcast talents to my show. I absolutely am appreciative of you coming on here and spending a little time with us. So let's get into plugs. Al, you are the special guest, man. Why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff, buddy?
All right. Well, I have two shows. The main one is the one we mentioned before, Resurrections, and Adam Warlock and Thanos podcast. Just go type in Adam Warlock in pretty much any podcast searcher. It's in there. Or go to our main page, resurrectionsadamwarlock.tumblr.com. All the episodes are there. And then I have a second show called Pop Culture Palace Presents, which is, a friend of mine put it best the other day. It's basically a catch-all for all the stuff in my brain that doesn't fit in the Adam Warlock podcast feed.
Ronnie Adams.
We've got a show named Scream Boy Podcast. It's basically pop culture, nerd culture kind of stuff. We talk about, comics, video games, TV, movies, music, whatever, tickles our collective fancy. So as I told everybody off air, I am now actually calling from an acquired laptop. So
and no longer eating chips.
Chips.
I'm not eating I didn't do the chips. Continue, Ronnie.
I didn't. Soon, very, very soon. Recording new material and everything. But until then, you can go back in the archives and listen to all the shows that we've done in the past and catch the network exclusives right here. And so we've done a lot of exclusives, and we've got one coming up on Remembering Stan Lee. So please keep an eye out for that. If it's already released, just scroll back a little bit and you'll find it. It's fantastic. We're just remembering Stan Lee for who he was and what he brought. The joy he brought us in his creations. We also did the Rise and Fall of Bill Cosby, the Rise and Fall of Toys R Us. We've done a lot of exclusives here that are, you're not going to find anywhere else. But you can find the rest of our shows on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeart, just about any podcast format. Give us a subscribe, a like on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just look up Stream Boy Podcast. We're right there. I'm kind of on hold on Comic-Cons until January. Did not go to the North Carolina Comic-Con this year because, one, it's too expensive for what it is. That's just my personal opinion. But I did go to the North Carolina Renaissance Festival, which was actually about as nerdy as you think it was, but it was so much fun. And
did you drink mead?
No. I mean, really didn't see any. Of course, really wasn't looking for it. But
yeah, if you go to a Renaissance fair and don't get fucked up on mead, you have missed the Renaissance fair experience.
That's what I did the one time I went. I got bombed on mead.
Hell yeah.
I drank mead and ate turkey legs and watched Macbeth, and that was it.
Yup.
Well, I did... But I did eat steak on a steak.
What?
Yeah, they just put a 6-ounce sirloin on a stick, and medium rare, and handed it to me.
Well, now I am jealous.
Okay, there you go.
It was delicious. And later on that day, I ate a fantastic bread bowl, which was beef stew in a bread bowl.
Goodness.
It was delicious as well. Saw several really, really, really good shows. Got to see the Tortuga Twins, which the Tortuga Twins are a comedy act. Fantastic. The twins are a set of 3 gentlemen that do a show.
Now I'm confused.
Right. They're hilarious. Look them up on YouTube. Mark, I think you would honestly really like them. Lots of sexual innuendo and
Mark would love them.
Mark would love them. I actually, while I was there, also acquired a 72-inch hickory. I think it's hickory. It's wooden longbow.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, with 5 arrows because the arrows were super expensive, and I don't know why. But I mean, it's beautiful art. Just a beautiful piece of craftsmanship. So they were selling bows and other, like hand forged swords, just arts and crafts and leather. And there was a vendor there that was selling handmade leather boots. They didn't sell you the boot that day. What they did was they made a cast of your foot with all the measurements that you could, every inch of your foot, every millimeter, they measured it out, took a cast of it, and they take their time and handcraft this boot that is they're just absolutely gorgeous boots. And while the guy was telling me about it, he pointed out one of the guys that worked there. He runs a rickshaw, so he hauls people around, the festival. He's done it for the festival's 25 years old, so he's done it for 25 years. He bought his boots the first year.
No way.
And
wow.
Yeah, they resold them every time you need repairs or a new sole, they do it for free. So I said, well, how much was some of this, something like this cost? He said, well, they can be as expensive as you want them to be, with the bells and whistles and everything on them. I said, oh, well, what do they
Bells
start?
and whistles. Are they actual bells and whistles on a boot, or what?
I wish I could get boots with bells and whistles. With all the, with the craftsmanship and the anything you want it to be, you can make them as expensive. I said, well, he said, well, I said, what do they usually start? He said, well, they start at about $400, and he said he has seen them run as expensive as $4,000 to $5,000. He said $400. I said, oh, okay. And then he turned around to greet somebody else in his booth, and I made like a ninja and left.
Poof.
Yeah, I was gone. He turned around and I was nowhere to be found. But it was a lot of fun. Maybe I can give an update on that on a show later on. Well worth the trip, well worth the price of the ticket, which was actually pretty cheap, $24. It was a lot of fun. That's pretty much what's been going on with me and the show and everything. So I'm done now.
Mark Radulich, the schedule.
Sir. All right. When this premieres, as you're listening to it here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, it's Robin Hood week all week long on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. Tomorrow night, damn you, Hollywood, we're going to review that new piece of shit Robin Hood movie. As Jesse calls it. And
I don't call it nothing. For the whole time you've been plugging that show, every time it's the piece of shit Robin Hood movie. I have no opinions about that movie. I've not even seen a trailer. I didn't know it existed. On
the Metal Hammer of Doom, it's Booyaka Booyaka. We're going to be reviewing the new POD Circles with good old Dreadheart. And then finally on Thursday, on trial, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. And then on December 1st, oh shit, heavyweight boxing returns to pay-per-view. Get ready, get excited, get pumped. Deontay Wilder, all 40 feet of his wingspan versus Fat Tyson Fury. It's going to be a wild night. Myself and Patrick Mullen and probably not Gavin Napier of the Casual Heroes will be doing live commentary. Why listen to the morons at Showtime when you can listen to the morons at the Radulich Broadcasting Network? Give you better commentary. So that's what we'll be doing. Last week, Thanksgiving week, we had, speaking of Gavin Napier, he was on the Source Material podcast, and we reviewed the Justice League America, The Tornado's Path. I understood most of what was happening in that book, and it was more than I understood what was happening in what we reviewed the next night with Alexis Hana on Damn You Hollywood, which was Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Putting You to Sleep. Everybody I've talked to has fallen asleep through this picture. It's the cure for insomnia. It's cinematic ambient, and you won't walk into traffic when it's over. Well, you might, because that's because you're suicidal.
I fell asleep 3 times in that movie.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. So yes, Fantastic Sleep, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Go see it and fall the fuck out. And then check out our review as we try to make sense of it all. And then on the Metal Hammer of Doom, we reviewed Who the Stank, right, Jesse? Who
right.
stank.
Jeez, run that shit into the ground too while you're at it.
Our latest entry into the Turkey Hall of Fame on the Metal Hammer of Doom is stank. Pushful. Speaking of boxing and heavyweights, next week it's Rocky Week all week long. We've got Muhammad Ali versus Superman on the Source Material podcast. This is the one day of the year where Robert Winfrey says, "Fuck off, I refuse to review this movie." And this year, that movie is Creed 2 for some strange reason. But like 97 people have offered to take his place. So the line forms to the left, and it starts with Jason Teasley, then Ronnie Adams, a big fan of Thrussenblatt, and Andrew Graham from our Canadian office.
Write his bio on the webpage. We don't even have a webpage, but I'll create one just to make that bio.
The Metal Hammer of Doom is going. There's no easy way out. We're going to review the Rocky IV soundtrack. Oh, there's no shortcut home, right, Jesse?
Oh my gosh! Oh, there's some great video content coming up on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra.
Jesse and I are starting a business where we're going to start shooting music videos for people. It's just going to be people in warehouses in deserts. That's all
Money
of our
made.
videos.
Money made.
And then finally, we put Rocky IV on trial Thursday, December 6th. It's the movie that ended communism, ladies and gentlemen, and brought world peace, Rocky IV. We'll put it on trial for you.
Wow. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Source Material Podcast. For Al Sedano, for Ronnie Adams, I'm Jesse Starcher. Oh, and Mark Radulich over there in the corner. You know what I got to say. Everybody have a good one. Boomeroo! Thank you all for joining us. Make sure to give that Radulich in Broadcasting Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts we have to offer. We are at home on Spreaker, but you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and recently we have hit the air on Spotify. Find your favorite podcast platform and type in RADULICH to subscribe for some great content. If you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word. And as always, we appreciate any feedback and look forward to entertaining you again soon.
Never shakes to show his face. Legend has that.
Let's talk about
Jesse, I gotta grab my parents calling. I gotta get off the phone for a second.
All right, sure. Let's just do a real quick. I'm gonna have to mute him.
Are you doing your radio show? Are you playing with your friends?
You have them on speaker?
In other words, you'll be coming back to Fractions Hawkeye like a boomeroo. Damn it! Like a boo.
Almost.
Almost. This close. This close.
I actually like Boomeroo better.
Mark Radulich, what do you think of Fractions Hawkeye? Let me read this question again. What did you think?
Boomeroo.
Boomeroo, baby. So there we go. Boomeroo, Underoos. Let's talk about Hawkeye. Because continually, show after show, there's something that's going to pop up that Mark's referenced at least 5 times in the previous shows.
Please, when you're doing the editing, insert my horse being killed. I spent an hour looking for horse sounds till I found the right horse dying.
At some point, some NSA operative is trying to figure out why we're Googling or YouTubing horse death.
The NSA isn't listening, because if they really were, trust me, the times I had recordings fail, I've yelled on the internet, please, NSA, send me the recording. Help me out. Nothing, nope. They don't help.
So now I just assume they're listening all the time for all my shitty ideas to make into movies. I'm waiting for someone to make a Thundar the Barbarian versus the Herculoids.
I would watch that.
Imagine there's some guy going, woof, that's bad. We can do that.
All right, hold on. What's up, Colton?
Hey, Colton, what's up, bro?
Hey, bro.
One piece of bread.
And give him some water too for to take back to his cell.
What this was called Home is a living. No, my life is a weapon, not living weapon, because that would entail people turning into buildings, if I remember right. Hawkeye, my life is
a stroke.
Edit.
Did he tell you that they were great for stomping queers?
Jeez, what is that from? Please tell me you're referencing something.
That is a movie reference. Yes. Bows and Arrows by the Kaiser Chiefs.
That's loud. Okay.
What you send and talk about is real.
The Kaiser Chiefs are a real band. Ed Guy's a real band. These are all real things. Falling Down was a real movie. See what I mean about beating a dead horse, Al?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Ronnie Adams' favorite band, Throssenblatt, their newest album, they gave it a review.
You make things up. And I don't think there's. I don't listen to the shows because I think
What
bands
was
are
the
made up.
quote? The quote earlier this week in the chat was
It was, I half expect you all to sneeze and call it a band. And then I said in quotes, Mark sneezes. Oh, bless you, Mark. No, I was talking about the new band and their number one hit and strangling noise.